It's Over Opinionated. Opinionated with Josh Cott.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Over Opinionated. This is the last episode of the 2024 election cycle. We will do a recap of the winner and loser of the presidential race and everything down the ballot. But this is going to be our last election podcast before you go cast your vote. And everyone, please go cast your vote. If you haven't already voted, please go pray and vote. We need everyone. No excuses. Go out and vote. No excuses. If you need a ride, call somebody. If you need help, tell me if you need help or something. No excuses. Everyone should cast their ballot. So, since I talked to you last, I don't know if I talked about the garbage incident. I think I talked about the stupid comedian joke that Trump said was wrong at Madison Square Garden when they invited an insult comedian to come. They should have never done it, but Trump disavowed it and the campaign disavowed it, where this guy said that Puerto Rico was a floating pile of garbage. It was a joke and it was a stupid one. But after that, President Joe Biden went on to say that Trump supporters was garbage. Here's that clip.
They call Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Alrighty there. Well, he went on to clarify and said he didn't mean supporters. He just meant that one guy. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure we all heard what he said. This is just like Governor Ralph Northam saying that he didn't mean that you could kill a baby after a botched abortion. We all heard what you said. Stop trying to walk it back, okay? The same exact situation, same exact people defending him too, to defend Governor Northam. We heard what you said. We have ears. Trump supporters are garbage. We're garbage. This shouldn't surprise you guys. This is what the left has fought about the right forever. You're just one of those smelly Walmart shoppers. Half of Donald Trump supporters could be put into what we call the basket of deplorables. Hillary Clinton. And then you have, there are a bunch of bitter clingers clinging to our guns and religions, Barack Obama. Donald Trump, Obama called me a bitter clinger. Hillary Clinton called me a deplorable. Joe Biden calls me garbage. Donald Trump calls me an American patriot. And I think that's exactly why we're going to win on Tuesday. So I 100% believe we're going to win this election. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I'm normally not this optimistic. I'm normally a pessimistic guy. And if I say I believe we're going to win this election and we end up losing, I'm not saying that's because we were cheated or this or that. I'm not saying that. I'm not one of those people. But I believe we're going to win. I believe that all the momentum is upon us. 538 is predicting us to win. Real Clear Politics is predicting us to win. Polls have never predicted us to win a presidential election with Donald Trump as the president. It just has not happened. This is the best chance Donald Trump has had to win the presidency. We have a much better shot than what we did in 2016. A way better shot. People don't realize that we were the underdogs going into that election, and we didn't have much of a chance. That's why I thought Hillary Clinton was going to win, but we pulled an upset and we won. Upsets can't happen. And that's why I'm warning everyone. That's why I'm warning my audience, because I know that this is a mostly conservative listening. Anybody's welcome to listening, but this is a conservative show, and I know we're going to have mostly conservative listeners. Get out and vote. I do not care about the polls. You have to vote. And if you sit home and you do not vote and Donald Trump ends up losing by a small margin in Pennsylvania, and if you live in Pennsylvania, that's on you. If you don't get out and vote in Virginia and we end up losing by 1 or 2% in Virginia and we lose the election, that's on you. Okay? It is. You're part of the problem. Don't be part of the problem. Unless there is something you can just not get to the polls on time. Go, vote. Vote and pray and vote. And if you're under 18, pray. I say that because I was getting gas at a gas station last week, and someone said, "I love your hat." I have a hat that has Donald Trump with his fist in the air after he got shot, and it says "fight." And I said, "Thank you, go vote." And he said, "Well, I can't vote. I'm 16. I said, "Well, 2 more years you can vote." So pray and vote. If you're not old enough to vote, just pray. I have a bunch of several opinions that are going to actually come at the end of what I'm talking about. So they're going to come at the very end of the show, and they're all going to be anonymous. Opinions about what they think about this election from different walks of life, from different type of people, from different states. Most of them are going to be from Southwest Virginia, but I actually have someone from Ohio. So, and Ohio used to be a big swing state. So, and when that happened, I don't know, Donald Trump got in a garbage truck and drove to a rally, and he wore a safety vest. That's pretty awesome. And my joke I've been saving, if we win this election, I get credit for this joke. If the Babylon Bee makes it, remember, you heard it here first, okay? I love the Babylon Bee, but if they steal my joke, you heard it here first, okay? If Donald Trump wins the election, he will be the first man in history to win the election. 2 weeks before the election, he was a fry cook at McDonald's and a sanitation worker. Okay? So an elderly man working 2 jobs at McDonald's and working sanitation rose to be president of the United States. That's pretty awesome, man. Only in America can you flip fries 2 weeks before the election and become president of the United States. Am I right? That's just a joke, guys. But anyway, I want to read you some of the polls. Now, this isn't a poll, but Real Clear Politics, their election model, has Trump and Vance winning the Electoral College with 287 electoral votes, and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris losing with 251. Extraordinarily tight, an extremely tight election. Now let's go over the swing states. So how did they break this down? So they gave Donald Trump and J.D. Vance Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and they gave Tim Walz and Kamala Harris Wisconsin and Michigan. Those big swing states. So this election, it's extremely, extremely important who wins Pennsylvania. Now, I do believe that Trump can win the election without winning Pennsylvania, but if he does, he's going to have to win he's going to have to run the table in his swing states that lean Republican. He's going to have to run the table in North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona. And he's also going to have to, he's going to have to pick up Nevada, and he's going to have to win one of the Rust Belt states. He's going to have to either win Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan. Okay, Wisconsin at 10 electoral votes, Michigan at 15, and Pennsylvania at 19. And so he's going to have to pick one of these up. Now, if he's able to steal Virginia, this election's completely over. If he can hold all of his other wins and he can steal Virginia, it's over. And that's not too much out of the possibility. Rasmussen had its latest polls and it had Virginia within 2 points. I don't want to get too hopeful with that because Nova goes out in droves for the Democratic candidate. But remember, in 2021, Virginians went out and we voted, and we got a Republican governor, a Republican lieutenant governor, and a Republican attorney general. So it's not impossible. Virginia is a blue state, but we are not a deep blue state. Okay? We can flip Virginia. Don't you dare say my vote doesn't count because the Electoral College and I live in Virginia. Do not do that. The only reason that Governor Northam forgive me. God forgive me. The only reason that Governor Youngkin won the state of Virginia was the 9th Congressional District. That's the only reason, because people in the 9th Congressional District went out in droves. People in Southwest Virginia went out in droves and voted for Governor Youngkin, and we won a very tight election. Now, people might say more people is going to vote this time in Nova. Yeah, maybe it will. But go and vote. You have no idea what can happen. Stranger things have happened. I'm old enough to remember when Barack Obama won North Carolina. I'm old enough to remember that. Okay? Stranger things have happened. We can win this state. Is it an uphill battle? Yeah, but I've seen us win a statewide election in Virginia. Do not give up. And guess what? Your congressman matters. Even if we don't win the state of Virginia, your congressman still matters. Even if we don't win, the state of Virginia, the Senate still matters. Okay, go vote for Hong Cal. He needs your vote. Okay, he served in the military. He's running against Tim Kaine, who's an awful senator. Go vote for Hong Cal. Go vote for Morgan Griffin. Go vote for your Republican congressional candidate. Because I know not everyone that listens to this show is going to be in the 9th Congressional District. You might be from a different district. You might not even be from Virginia. If you're from a blue state, go vote, because your vote still matters. You might not win your state, but you can win your congressional seat. And the popular vote, make it closer so the liberals can't cry if we lose the popular vote. So let's just go out and win it all. So Donald Trump is, what I'm seeing by the RPV average, is he is up 0.3% in Pennsylvania. And that is within the margin of error, and that is super, oh man, that's scary. Harris is up 0.3% in Wisconsin and is up 0.6% in Michigan. Trump is up 2.9% in Arizona. He's up 1% in Nevada. He's up 2.3% in Georgia, 1.5% in North Carolina. And I don't believe this is all the RPV average has Harris up 5.8%. I just don't believe that. We'll see. We'll see come election time. We have Ohio. We have Trump up 6.9%, and then we have Minnesota, Harris up 4.8%. So this election is going to be extremely, extremely close. Let's go to 538. So 538 has this time where they run the election 100 times, and out of those 100 times, Donald Trump is winning 57 times out of 100, and Harris is winning 46 times out of 100. So we have a slight advantage. That's still not a very comfortable advantage. We need to go out there. We have to go out there and vote. Okay, and they have us, I think they have us with the same, okay, so they have us with 275 electoral votes. We need 270 to win the White House. They have Harris at 263. So, yeah, man, this election is tight as a tick. So, but I do want to say something. Donald Trump going to Joe Rogan, Donald Trump doing these podcasts and campaigning in different ways. I really think this is going to be the future of politics, win or lose. But especially if Kamala Harris loses, Democrats are going to know we have to go to places like Joe Rogan. We have to do this. We have to do that. And there's a reason why Kamala Harris didn't go to Joe Rogan's podcast. And what's that reason? She doesn't trust herself to be on a podcast for 3 hours unedited. That's what it is. She doesn't trust herself to do that. And I'm under the persuasion, if you're running for president of the United States and you cannot do 3 hours on Joe Rogan or any other show unedited, you shouldn't be president of the United States. Because how can you be, if you're afraid to look at Joe Rogan on a podcast interview with a microphone in front of you, how are you going to handle Vladimir Putin? How are you going to handle Kim Jong-un? How are you going to handle all these international crises if you can't deal with the guy that used to be the host of Fear Factor? No, I'm not trying to put down Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast in history. And people have made fun of podcasts before in the past because they don't understand. People are starting to understand now. Podcasts are very powerful. because it gives power to the people. It doesn't limit it to just these alphabet agencies. Alphabet news agencies like ABC, NBS, CNN, NBC. Okay, it gives power to the everyday person. That's why I love podcasts. It's an internet radio show. That's why Rush Limbaugh for years, and if it wasn't for Rush Limbaugh, I don't know if we would have won Congress back in 1994. He was actually, they gave him an award for an honorary Republican congressman in 1994 when we won the White House back when we won the Congress back when Bill Clinton was president. Okay? So stuff like this matters. It's a new medium for him, and I say thank God for it. We don't have to put up with all the lies anymore. We can go to alternative sources, and we can check those sources. And we don't have to just listen to the same garbage that spews from the left-wing media. Okay, I don't agree with Joe Rogan on everything. I think sometimes he's just plumb crazy. But sometimes he's right. And Joe Rogan is an everyday American type of podcast. Joe Rogan's an everyday type of American. He might be rich, but when you listen to him, he resonates with everyday type of Americans. And for her not to go to the podcast and say she'll do an hour if she comes to him. No, she should go, if he comes to her, she should come to him and do 3 hours. This is he's got the biggest podcast in the world, and you're not going to go to it. I mean, it's dumb campaigning. I'm glad you didn't. You couldn't even send Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz could do good on the Joe Rogan podcast. All right, I want to go to the Senate elections because the presidency is the most. I really do believe the presidency is the most important right now, but I also believe that the Senate elections are extremely important because even if Donald Trump loses the White House and Kamala Harris becomes president, God forbid, the Senate and the House of Representatives is also up for grabs again. And when I look at everything for the Senate, I don't see how Republicans can lose the Senate. When 538, their election model ran 100 elections, and out of that, the Republicans won 90. We just have a very favorable map for us this year. West Virginia's senator decided not to run again, and so it looks like the Republicans is going to pick up West Virginia. And remember that in West Virginia, Trump wins West Virginia with 40% margin. It looks like Jim Justice will become your new senator from the state of West Virginia because the Democrat senator is not running for re-election. And the reason he's not running for re-election is because he just knows he's going to lose. And the last time he didn't have to run, he's never had to run against Trump. Ohio still has a Democrat senator, and he is up for re-election. We have the Democrat Brown and the Republican Manero. Forgive me for mispronouncing his name. So we have this as a tied election on 538. Morning Council's latest poll says that Brown was down by 1 point. So this is close. Brown's been in office for a long time. I don't know too much about him. We have Montana. We have a Democrat senator still. He's running for re-election, and hopefully we can pick that one up. I think we're going to pick up Montana because this Democrat never faced re-election when Trump was on the ballot. So I think we're going to pick up Montana. We're going to pick up West Virginia, and we possibly could pick up Ohio. I think we will pick up Ohio. I think Trump will push the Republican candidate in Ohio over the top, and we should win that. That'll be good. And so if we win that right there and we hold all our seats, we'll win. The one concern I have is Ted Cruz in Texas has been running a campaign that the Democrats coming pretty close to in the polls. But I think Ted Cruz, the same thing happened with him versus Beto O'Rourke 6 years ago when people were worried that Ted Cruz was going to lose his seat if you're a Republican, and he ended up winning. I think Ted Cruz is going to win again, but I also think that Ted as much as I like him, I like Ted. He comes off very unlikable to just a lot of everyday voters. He's not going to do as well as Trump in his state, and maybe Ted should think. And I'm not trying to sound hateful, but and this will be Ted's third term, so maybe Ted should think about retiring after this third term. But we shall see. But I feel very confident that we're going to win the Senate back. Like I said, 538 has us up 90%. So even if Kamala wins, and if we can have a majority in if we can have a majority in Senate, and if something happens to, God forbid, one of our conservative Supreme Court justices, hopefully the Senate just shuts it down, like we did with Obama, until we can get a conservative president and conservative judge. The Senate also is head of the appointees of that the president appoints. So the Senate has to approve of those appointees. So that would be a good thing. That we won't. She'll have to compromise and not have a bunch of far left appointees, or it'll get voted down. That's also a good thing. But and I'll be honest. This is a total feeling. This is a total vibe on my part. I really feel like whoever wins the presidency will win the House of Representatives. I think if Kamala wins, the Dems will get the House, and I think if Trump wins, that the Republicans will get the House. And I think it's going to be. I think the House of Representatives shows how divided this country is too, how narrow it is. I think it's like under 10 members in the House that the Republicans lead by an extraordinarily small margin. It's so small that Kevin McCarthy couldn't hold on to his speakership when he had some rogue people in his party oust him, and all the Democrats voted against him. And then that's how we got Mike Johnson as speaker. And I love Mike Johnson, but I kind of hate how Kevin McCarthy got the shaft, to be honest with you. But and remember, if the Senate becomes Republican, Mitch McConnell is stepping down from leadership. So I don't think he'll be the leader. I don't think he'll be the majority leader. They will have to elect a new majority leader. But I'm excited. I've been a nervous wreck too. I'm not going to lie, but I really feel like we have a great chance at winning this election. And I just want to clarify. Even if we lose, the world's not going to end. It will suck if we lose. Because Kamala Harris is a horrible candidate. She supports abortion up to the point of birth in all 50 states and U.S. territories. She's a Marxist. She's just awful. In every policy, she's awful. She lied to the American people about Joe Biden's mental capacity. She still has the ability right now today to oust Joe Biden from the presidency under the 25th Amendment, and she refuses to do it. And this man is out of his mind, and he has the nuclear football. Now, I'm not afraid that he's just going to press it and send us to a nuclear war with China and Russia. I mean, he has too many advisors around him to allow him to do that, thankfully. But she continues to lie. She continues to demagogue, and she's really relying on women votes right now. She is. And if women vote, if women don't vote as high as favorably as they're predicted to, she's going to lose. She's running her best on women, and that Donald Trump is evil and hates women. And listen, I know this is anecdotal, but I have some friends. I have a couple friends that went to the Trump rally in Salem, Virginia, and there were a lot of women there wearing pink shirts that say "Women for Trump." There are a lot of women there, and so if women slide away from Harris just even a little bit, she could be toast. If minority men don't come out for her, she could be toast. That's why she's targeting African American men right now. That's why she's targeting them, because they don't have to vote for Trump. African American men don't have to vote for Trump for her to lose. They just have to say, "I don't like her. I'm going to stay home," and Trump will win. Hispanics actually, Democrats might have a very slight lead with Hispanics. Republicans are doing very good with Hispanic voters. And I think eventually that a majority of Hispanic voters will be reliably Republican, or it'll be at least close to 50-50. Because after you get past the immigration issue, you have issues like abortion, and a lot of these Hispanic voters are Roman Catholic, and a lot of them second generation Hispanics. Like I have a very close friend. He's a second generation Hispanic immigrant. Well, I guess he's a first immigration, because when he came over here, he wasn't an American citizen. But he's a Protestant now. So a lot of them are becoming Protestant. But they're against abortion. They're against same-sex marriage. And they're more traditional. So you get out of the immigration realm, and the Republican Party lines up with Hispanics more than the Democrats. And they might have bit off more than they can chew with the Hispanics, actually, because they thought that they were going to rely on them, and now they're starting to turn more Republican, even if they hold a slight lead. But this election, I think, is going to come down to turnout. Who's going to turn out their votes? No one knows. The polls are so tight that I think the polls are actually, some of them are afraid to go out on the limb and put more favorable Trump ratings or more Harris ratings. One of the candidates are going to be underpolled and one's going to be overpolled. That's just it. And I'll be honest with you, when I look in 2016, Trump was really underpolled in Wisconsin. And he was underpolled in Wisconsin in 2020. People don't realize this. Trump was losing really bad in 2020 election by the polls. He was. And then he made a comeback. And he almost came back so much that he won. It was so close. It was very, very close. I really think we have a great, great chance at winning this election. I do. I feel it in my bones. And I have felt things in my bones before that have been wrong. So I could be wrong. But this is what Donald Trump calls the weave. I'm weaving right now. I really, no matter, even if Kamala Harris wins the election, Jesus Christ is still Lord and King, and he's still in control of everything. No matter the outcome on Wednesday. If we know the winner by Wednesday, we may not. God already knows. God knows all things. That doesn't mean not to vote. You still vote. You still have to vote. You still have to pray, and you still have to vote. But the winner of the election is not going to be a surprise to God in heaven. It just won't be. What happens will happen. And Jesus will still be Lord of Lords and King of Kings, even if our country goes down the toilet. And even if she wins, I'm not saying America's just going to go straight down the toilet. I think there'll be a lot of problems. But even if Adolf Hitler was reincarnated and made the absolute monarch of the United States of America, Jesus is still Lord, and things are going to turn out okay in the end. Hello, everyone. I got a friend with me, Mikhail Mann, from the other sides of the mountains in Giles, and he made it to Salem to see the president. What'd you see on the ground there, Mikhail?
Yeah, it was a great.
Let's take a quick break.
Has anybody ever told you you were over opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion, don't talk about faith, don't talk about politics. My name is Darrell McClain, host of Darrell McClain's Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. Give Josh Scott a shot at Over Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com /overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth.
Day, a great experience. There was a whole lot of energy. To be honest with you, it felt like I was at a huge football or basketball game, a sporting event that just had a ton of energy and excitement. People were fired up, even in the Commonwealth, and I think they're ready to go and ready to get Donald Trump elected as president.
That's awesome. So, just when you're there, exactly what kind of people are you seeing? Are you seeing a good mixture of different types of people? Or are you seeing just, only one type of people, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, they're all hardworking Americans that were there. I saw, a lot of guys were in suits, and a lot of guys were just, or people in general were just in plain clothing. But to add to that point, a lot of people include on the Kamala Harris side like to claim his rallies are violent, and that people are rude there. But I did not see a bit of that. Everyone was super kind, super nice, very welcoming. I think that the fact that people say Trump supporters, are to quote President Biden, garbage. I think that's quite a misstatement.
How many people were in the arena?
It was around 7,000, if I'm not mistaken. It was at full capacity.
Gotcha. And there's a lot of people I know that couldn't get in, is what I've heard.
Yeah, there was a good bit, and I don't want to quote you a number because I'm not sure, but there was a lot of people, and I've actually talked to several people today from in my neighborhood and from my church that said, we showed up at 8:30, 8 o'clock and didn't even get in.
Sure, and I know that the governor, the attorney general, and the lieutenant governor was there and gave speeches, and I've heard 100 of Glenn Youngkin's speeches. I know you have too. But when Trump gets there, I actually heard that he got there a little bit late because he was on the campaign trail and he got there like an hour late. When he's there, what was his closing pitch of his?
Yeah, I would say his close, which me and you both obviously have heard a lot out of Glenn Youngkin to add to that. And he obviously brought a lot of energy, but the president's closing pitch was just the importance of getting out and voting, making sure that everyone around you that you knew had voted, and just that the same thing he's pitched the past 8 years, that we're going to make, when he gets elected, he's going to make America healthy again, strong again, safe again, wealthy again, and ultimately great again. And I think that's the ultimate message he wanted to close with yesterday, and I think that's how he wants to close the campaign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was honestly surprised to hear that he was going to come to Virginia with just a couple days left in the election, and instead of being in a more of a toss-up state. But I really do think it's going to be a longer shot. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Trump steals one and takes Virginia.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I mean, it's, the polls they're not entirely close, but, there's maybe some indication, and maybe he wanted to come just to get everybody in the base fired up, just to try to get some excitement towards Virginia. Who knows on that end, but I can tell you this, there was a lot of excitement in the Commonwealth yesterday that he was here. For
sure. Was J.D. Vance there? I was just wondering. I didn't know if J.D.
He was not.
Okay. I'm sure he's somewhere else.
Stephen Miller was the, highest member of the Trump team that was there yesterday.
No, okay. No, well, I mean, I understand you got to kind of divide and conquer. And I know, did you get to see J.D. when he was in Radford?
I did not. Unfortunately, I didn't know.
Okay. Well, it's okay. No, I tried to get tickets to the event, but unless you just got it as soon as it hit. But also, a part of me is glad that I didn't get a last minute ticket, because I know that there are thousands that turned away, and I wouldn't want to go all the way to Salem and stand there for hours and get turned away.
Yeah.
But all right, do you have any closing thoughts about the rally and about the election, Mikhail, as we close up?
Yeah, just if anybody's listening, just make sure you get out and vote. And I'll pass on what both Governor Youngkin and President Trump had alluded to yesterday, and request that everybody do. Just get out, make sure you vote, most importantly, but at the same time, make sure all your family members have voted, make sure your neighbors have voted, and just this final stretch, every single vote counts. I mean, it's going to be a close election, and 2020 is an indicator of that. There's the swing states that the president lost by in 2020 were within 40,000 votes. So every single vote counts, and it's just important that every single vote gets, or every single person that can vote gets out and votes. And that's probably what I would like to let everybody know in closing.
Yeah, I got you. That's awesome. And just on a personal note, are you still practicing your campaign speech?
I'll let you know when I have it ready.
Okay.
I may or may not be putting in a little bit of work every day. It's a growing process.
Well, I got you. Well, you lived in the part that wasn't annexed, weren't you? And in your hometown, and they're thinking about annexing it. Am I right?
So I actually don't live. I actually live in town. Our business is actually out of town.
Oh, okay.
So that was the part they were considering an annex a couple years ago. But that's correct.
And that's Rich Creek, guys. It's right on the border of Virginia and West Virginia. This is just a little bit of inside ball. I'm sorry for Rich Creek's a very little small town. It's not as Glenlyn is actually smaller, but
Glenlyn's a big city.
Oh yeah, the big city of Glen. They have a population of 4 or 5.
Yeah, maybe 7, maybe 8.
No, Glen's a good town, but
it's a good place. Great people.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. Well, everyone, that was a fun little interview or chat. I asked a few people if they wanted to give a little idea or thought or opinion on the election. I'm going to leave all of these anonymous unless they say something in their point of view of their audio message. And I don't agree with all these audio messages. I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. There's some that I do and some that I do not. But I just want to play you guys some of these audio messages. They're not my opinions. They're my fans' opinions. And I want everyday people, I want to hear what the everyday people is thinking about this election. So here's one.
Hello, this is Caleb Crewy, and I believe that Donald Trump will win the election this year because he has turned out his low propensity voters at a higher rate than Kamala Harris, and those low propensity voters will take him across the line. A low propensity voter is somebody who is only turns out once every 4 years or even less frequent than that, and I think that will carry Trump over in this close election because he could turn those voters out at a higher rate than Kamala could turn her low propensity voters out. I think Trump will win Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and Kamala will eke out by less than half a point in Michigan. I do think the Republicans are going to win at least 51 seats in the U.S. Senate when all things are said and done, but it could go as high as 54 or 55, and 54 wouldn't be that surprising, and I do think they'll win the House of Representatives. So that's my thoughts on the elections, that Donald Trump will win because he turns out his low propensity voters at a higher rate, and that will propel him across the finish line.
Here's video number 2.
So here's what my thoughts are. There's a number of things that I think could happen. First of all, you know who I've already voted for. we have to get our country back. This country is hurting bad right now. Its people are hurting bad. Something has to change. All right. I think it's a possibility that there won't be an election. We'll wait and see next few days. But if there is an election, I do think that they will steal it. But I think we're prepared better for it this time. And I think that they will get busted if they do. And if it does, if it's able to be an election, I think that Trump will blow her out of the water. That woman is dumb as a rock. She has no idea what she is doing. She was put in that place as far as running for president because Board Biden sat down. They just put her there. The people didn't even get to vote for her. So that's what I think. Vote no matter what I say. You need to vote, but you sure need to vote who you think. Well, here's what I think. Who do you think Jesus would vote for? A person who don't know the definition of a woman, who wants to cut parts off of kids and grown-ups. They don't, they don't know whether they're a woman or a man. They want to murder babies. So that's the Democrat way. That tells me right then and there, I'm going to vote Trump all the way, baby. Trump. God bless. Talk to you later.
This is audio number 3.
Hi, this is Pastor Matthew Chapman from Calvary Church, Southwest Virginia. I'm excited to vote in my first presidential election this year. I became a naturalized citizen just over 2 years ago after living in the United States for 38 years. Came here in 1984 when I was 11 years old, and now I'm 51 and the first time voting for president, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to be living in a country with the freedom that America has and the love for God that I see in so many places. Grateful for the country of my adoption. Still love my home country of England, but very grateful for America and excited to vote this year. God bless. Bye-bye.
Audio clip number 4.
Alrighty, let's talk about the 2024 election and kind of look at maybe what the outcome is going to be and what's driving out each candidate's support and their base here. We'll start out with President Trump. Let's take a look at kind of what he's focusing on. He's still focusing more on a populist message, tariffs, and kind of going on the bro podcast loop here in the last month. He's been on Joe Rogan, just all kinds of different podcasts. I'm not really in the loop on all that, but he's really focusing more on a populist message and keeping stuff in America, keeping goods in America, and basically trying to get things to be made back in America. Harris is basically kind of doing the opposite of that, whereas she's focusing more on women turnout and abortion, and we all know that, well, women come out and vote high numbers for abortion, as were per the state mandates that they enshrined abortion in state constitutions, even in deep red states. So not a bad message from her, and not a bad message from him either for the base. Let's take a look at these swing states here. We got Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Penn State, North Carolina. On election night, we're going to have to focus on those 7. Whoever wins basically those 7 is going to be the next president of the United States. So big emphasis on Pennsylvania. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is basically going to be the next president of the United States. I don't see any way around it. Don't see how you can't not win the election and not have Pennsylvania. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard. Harris is going to have to keep a hold of the blue wall. If Trump gets in and wins Wisconsin or Michigan, it's going to even be hard for Harris to win Pennsylvania and keep all the other states in the swing states as well. So I'm just going to keep it short here. I know I'm running a little bit over, but I'm seeing 4 outcomes. I'm seeing either a landslide win for Harris. She keeps the blue wall of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania intact. I see Trump winning by a landslide. He comes in and wins maybe 1 or 2 of those states and wins in a landslide. I could see where basically they kind of mix match those 7, and it basically comes down to Nebraska's one electoral vote that it has, where you could see Harris winning 270 and Trump having 268. Or if he ends up taking that one electoral vote from Harris in Nebraska, what we could end up with is a 269 to 269 tie. The election gets thrown into the House, and since the House doesn't basically elect new people till January 6 and certifies them, that means the House is controlled by Republicans. And I believe there's 26 states that are controlled by Republicans. That means Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States if there's a 269 to 269 tie and each state gets 1 vote. So Republicans hold that majority in the House. Those are the outcomes that I see. So everyone vote their conscience, get out and vote on Election Day. Thank you, guys.
Audio clip number 5.
Okay, so my thoughts about the election are that it is very interesting that Joe Biden stepped out. I mean, I'm glad he did, but also good for him for realizing, like, I probably shouldn't do another 4 years. Good for him. I just think that, honestly, my honest opinion is this. America is in a real bad spot right now, and I just think that politics are just unfortunately funny now. Like, there's nothing, like, I don't look up to either one of these candidates, unfortunately. And it's been that way for the past few elections, in my opinion. I feel like it's now just a meme and a joke, and it shouldn't be. Like, I think they're funny, don't get me wrong, but it's unfortunate that this is our reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wish that we had different candidates, honestly. I don't know. I'm in a hard spot because our economy cannot take any more turmoil that it's in now. But also, is Trump fit to be president? I genuinely don't know. And then, like, you've got the conspiracy theorists, and then it's just a joke what this election and previous elections have came to. Like, I would like to have 2 candidates that I can look to and look at their values instead of the 2 that we have now. So, honestly, like, I feel like I'm voting for the lesser of 2 evils, and I just don't want to feel that way anymore. I just want a political candidate that can help America as much as they can and not be a joke. That's my opinion.
Audio clip number 6.
Go vote.
So, America, the choice is yours. What will you vote to continue on? Will you vote to have a new president, or will you vote for the current administration with a face paint? It's up to you. What you cast your vote for at the polls matters. Who you elect up and down the ticket matters. America will have a president for the next 4 years before our next election, and that's a lot of time for the country to do well or to do awful. The ball is in your court. I pray that you get out and you vote. I'm going to be back with the Bible verse of the day, and this will be your last podcast of the 2024 presidential elections until we have our recap. We will have a recap, but this is your last one before the presidential elections, guys. So here's your Bible verse of the day. All right, guys, your Bible verse of the day is actually a chapter. It comes from Psalms chapter 2 in the NIV. Why did the nations conspire and the people plot in vain? The kings of earth rise up, and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break the chains and throw off their shackles. The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. He rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, I have installed my king, O Zion, O holy mountain. I will proceed the Lord's decree. He said to me, You are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession. You will break them with a rod of iron. You will dash them to pieces like pottery. Therefore, you kings, be wise. Be warned, you leaders of earth. Serve the Lord with fear and celebrate his rule with trembling. Kiss the Son, or he will be angry, and your way will lead to destruction, for his wrath can flare up in any moment. Blessed are those who take refuge in him. God bless you guys. Go and vote.